Welcome back to the Dota Radio Morning Show, presented by Dota Radio, the internet radio dedicated to Dota 2. Make sure you visit us at dotaradio.com to learn more about our audio-only style of commentary. Remember, guys, tweet at us live during the show at ZyoriTV, at the Dota Radio, at Monolith Dota, and at HippieCasting. Those are the array of Twitters you guys need to know about here for today. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 16. Going to be a little bit less trolly here on today's Friday episode post-Thanksgiving. We're going to have Demon joining us to talk about his upcoming trip to Korea, his thoughts on MLG Columbus, his thoughts about what's happening right now at DreamHack Winter 2013, and a few other interesting little tidbits we've got lined up. Remember, guys, you can always email us into the show, morningshow@dotaradio.com, and of course, check us out on the web, dotaradio.com/morningshow. Today, though, we are back with our regular hosts. I'm Zyori. On the analysis desk, as always, Mr. Hippie. How are you today, sir?
I'm pretty good, man. I had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Always ready to get back to some Dota, though.
Oh, yeah. Always time for some dotes, and of course, our master of communications with his potato, Monolith, back with us. Charlie, what's the good word today, my friend?
It's not a fucking potato, man.
It sounds like one.
You sound like a potato.
That is not true, sir, and I do not respect your slander.
I do.
I'm older than you.
Oh, I gotta respect you now.
Repeat your lies and apologize. If you don't have jail ink, Charlie, it's all over. No respect. Charlie, I don't know if you're educated enough to understand this, but let me break it down for you. So anyway, guys, little foreword here before we get too far into it, our opening thoughts today. Last episode, it was a big one. If somehow you haven't seen the interview we did with Mark, do yourself a favor and check out the VOD. If you couldn't find it, I accidentally put it on the wrong YouTube channel as we were in a hurry. It's on the ZyoriTV1 YouTube channel, not on the Dota Radio. That was a mistake, not intentional. I did commandeer that one by accident there. So check that out. A lot of Reddit threads popping up about the last episode, and I'm not going to go so far as to apologize, but a lot of people are a little upset about the way that interview was conducted, and I am not one of them. If you didn't like it, sorry, Charlie, as I mentioned on Twitter a few times. I don't remember claiming the Dota Radio Morning Show was the pinnacle of journalism and professionalism in esports. We're here for the lulz to some degree. It was a good one, though. It was interesting. If you're curious about the follow-up of that story, check out ondamersgot.com. There's a 13-page article, the account from the players, Sama and Aoi2000 and everyone else about what they thought, their whole take on the entire situation in about as much detail as humanly possible. So we were originally going to have Sing Sing, Pylai Dai, or someone like that on the show today to talk about MLG Columbus and speed gaming. Live on 3 beat us to it. They did a special episode on Thursday. Sama and I think it was Aoi were on. So they've been kind of what's the right word here, Charlie? It's been covered to the max. Saturation, I think, is the word you were throwing out there.
Oversaturated?
Yeah, oversaturated. So we decided to take a different angle. Sorry to those of you that were hoping Sing coming on today. We'll certainly have him on in the future. He's on our list. He is just an arm's reach away. But, yeah, not too enthusiastic. Excited to have Demon coming on, especially following his news going to Korea. He's going to be here for our second segment today. So today we're going to cover some of the stuff that was on the docket for Wednesday that we didn't get a chance to get to because, well, Wednesday I was actually in a hurry because I had to cast BTS, and that was part of the reason we had to cut the interview short, which made the episode sort of less of an episode and more of just Charlie interviews Marco for 45 minutes while Zyori and Hippie try not to die of laughter. Still a good one, but not exactly what we had planned according to the notes. So, fellas, let's get started way back from the very beginning. Let's talk MLG a little bit. If you haven't heard by now, of course, Speed Gaming winning MLG Columbus after their 0-3 start, and then they went on that dominating streak to 5-0 in the rest of the group stage to make it into the top 4 for Championship Sunday. They dominated their set of semifinals, and then, of course, they beat DK 2-1 in the finals. Was very exciting, a great storyline, and also an interesting storyline to have DK making it to the finals. The episodes of the morning show leading up to that, I was drilling our guests. How is DK going to fare? Will being the lone Chinese team serve as a boon or a bane? Virtually everyone said it would be a bane. They wouldn't make top 4. And I stuck to my guns, and I was right. I'm going to rub it in a little bit. But, fellas, any macroscopic thoughts here about MLG and the underdog stories, as it may be, of DK and Speed making it into the finals?
I never thought DK was an underdog. I really think the bigger underdog that everyone else was thinking of was Sigma making it to semifinals. But Speed Gaming, man, just it was It's been said a million times. I won't go into a crazy long thing. It was very, very impressive the way they recovered from day one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt
Sleep is
about that.
overpowered.
Sleep is overpowered. I guess that's true. It is really amazing how different your mindset is after you've been totally exhausted and then had just, a normal night's sleep. And also, a lot of people, I don't know if they realize this, but Singh was actually pretty sick throughout that event. Was he not, Charlie?
He was congested.
Congested, a little stuffy
But-
nose, taking
Yeah,
some
but-
NSAIDs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bummer. It sucks being sick during a big tournament. I know one of the dream hacks when I was casting Han, I know that Slicks was sick, and that's terrible. You feel so bad. You see him on the final stage, they have that look on their face, just like, I'm fighting through a wall of mucus right now. I feel bad for him always. So anyway, a fun event. And MLG Columbus, I saw a tweet from Adam App saying that Columbus has been pretty much the most successful MLG they've ever had by an account of metrics. Of course, we've all talked about and heard about the array of VIP passes they sold, significantly more in the history of MLGs here with the premiere of Dota 2. Of course, the prize pool was, where did it cap out at? Like 113K, something like that? That's what it was last I checked, I think. So, pretty exciting. And also, Starladder Season 8, they're following that same kind of strategy in terms of raising the prize pool. They had a base 50K, and then you can buy the bundle or the ticket. And that prize pool is, if it's not over 100K yet, I think last night it was up to like 98K or something. Is this model the way of the future, having the community donate to prize pools? Because it seems to be successful at every turn, fellas.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of like when you go to a football game or whatever, and you buy tickets.
Mhm.
Those tickets support support the game, support salaries. So it's sort of like that. You're buying compendiums. It's like you're buying tickets.
Mhm.
I mean, MLG didn't have was free to watch. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll see how it works out for Starladder. I'm pretty excited. Be casting Starladder Season 8 on BTS. Pretty pumped up about it. So other storylines in MLG I want to mention here. The other big one was Sigma. We talked about Sigma a little bit. Of course, they came in at the tail end of the event to replace Dignitas after they broke up, pending some of that hot drama that we covered here. They did pretty well. They were able to break through and at least make it out of the group stage into the Championship Sunday bracket. Unfortunately, they lost their first round of semifinals and didn't make it to the finals, but still a pretty good run for Sigma. The team that wanted to sort of prove that this roster is serious, they're here to play. I think they've, as the fucking Mad said when he was a guest a couple weeks ago, this is their TI4 roster, so this was one of their first big opportunities to really show the community they've got the skills to pay the bills, and I think they did just that. Chris, did you have the opportunity to cast Sigma at all?
Yeah, I did. I did get to cast a couple of their games. They were an absolute pleasure. I mean, it was a fun team to watch. I think I cast them up against Na'Vi actually, which was a really fun game. In general, they played very well. They played very together, and they had those, kind of slightly out of left field strategies going for them. It wasn't like way out, but you could see some odd bands coming up against them. Partially, I think, because of the fact that they've had people like, these are all people who have played with players like Goblak. They know the power of these ridiculous drafts.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I believe we saw Treant banned against them once, even though I didn't think it was likely to get picked. But it's still just teams afraid of these kind of wacky drafts, and that's a certain level of power.
Yeah.
If teams are so afraid of your kind of left field heroes that they're not prepared for, then either you can throw them off by actually picking them and beat them with it, or they waste bans on it, and then you just pick a more standard thing, but with a little more punch to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw at least one game where Treant was banned out against a Sigma, and I think you're exactly right. Throwing those kind of curveballs, especially on LAN, puts people off their senses a little bit, and that was definitely part of the reason Sigma was able to make it through the great group stages, because they did have some interesting drafts. Every match I saw with them, they had a slightly different take from what most of the other teams were doing. So it was a pleasure. And again, I've made this joke a few times, but you'd think the fucking Mad is this really angry, like intense dude, but he's so mild mannered, so nice, and so friendly. I actually didn't really talk to him, but it was a fun interview we got to do with him. I was glad to see Sigma kind of break through a little bit. That's what was so great about this event. The storylines were just incredible. The teams that we really wanted to do well and kind of break through did just that. And again, not that I was rooting against Alliance or Na'Vi, but I was really hoping it wouldn't be that El Clasico in the finals. Of course, Alliance underperforming. They didn't make it out of the group stages. That was one of the big upsets of the tournament. Na'Vi made it into the groups, but they lost their first set of semifinals. Who did Na'Vi? Was it Na'Vi DK in the first set? Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Na'Vi DK. So DK took out Na'Vi to move into the finals, and then Speed beat Sigma finally. So was very exciting indeed. We almost potentially got stuck in a kind of tiebreak situation, but in the end it worked out. There was no messy tiebreak, which would have really screwed up the schedule, so that worked out well. And I mean, the group stage was interesting until the bitter end, because one of the last group stage matches was that Speed versus DK, the last match Speed had for the group stages, if I'm not mistaken. And virtually everyone that I talked to at the event was like, oh, this is going to be a pretty easy game for DK. That was the game that DK picked the Ursa without Wisp. And that Ursa, man, I don't know. I'm not... Chris, let's kick it to you here, the analysis desk. What do you think about the state of Ursa right now? I am not a fan. I think paired with Wisp, he can be okay. But Ursa alone, I have not seen much success come out.
They picked him specifically as a counter for Lifestealer, and I think I've mentioned this in a cast we've done before. He's one of those guys. It's well known. He's one of the few people that can just stand in melee against Lifestealer, hit him back, and win.
Right.
Because of the way Fury Swipe stacks up. But I think he's definitely one of the more situational carries. He has to be played kind of aggressively. He is definitely strong with Wisp. He needs positioning help. So, I mean, that's why you'll see him going either a Blink Dagger, or even I think we saw Burning go a Force Staff in that game, if I recall correctly.
I believe that was the case.
Yeah, so on the one hand, you either need a hero dedicated to helping him position, or you need his first item to be a positioning aid, which is not really something you want to rely on for your one position in my mind. You want to be able to either build like a defensive thing like BKB, or some sort of offensive damage output item, whichever one you need in the game, as opposed to needing that positioning aid. But at the same time, when Ursa's on top of you, his damage output is obscene already. So I think he's kind of okay simply as a situational counter pick. So, are you giggling at me? Giggling at me.
What do you think of Ursa? He's kind of okay. To me, that translates to he sucks.
He's okay as a counter pick. No, he's certainly not a bad hero. He can be very powerful in the right situation, but he's never going to be as standard as something like a Lifestealer or a Gyrocopter is now.
Yeah.
Because those heroes just are more versatile, whereas Ursa is more one-dimensional. And unless the base hero design changes, or he gets buffs to like an insanely overpowered level, he's never gonna be that ridiculously strong.
So I just pulled up his Dota stats, and since 6.79, Ursa is 5-5 out of 10 matches. So he has exactly a 50% win rate. That is much higher than I thought it would be. I would have guessed it would have been garbage. So, okay, all right, yeah. It didn't work out in that game. Part of the problem with Ursa, like you said, he definitely go toe-to-toe with Lifestealer, which is a rarity, but the problem is just getting there, getting in Lifestealer's face, because as soon as you pick an Ursa, the other team, it's like, you just know right away, okay, Force Staff, let's just run away from this stupid bear and watch him run in circles trying to thunderclap me, and that's what I feel like I've seen. I don't know where those 5 wins came from. I sure as hell didn't see them.
Speed Gaming was Force Staff Gaming last weekend, so I'm pretty sure that that certainly helped against the Ursa. I can't quite remember how many Force Staffs they bought, but they had a lot of use for those Force Staffs, man. I loved the Force Staff backdoor. I hope that goes on the highlight reel that Contini was grabbing stuff for.
Yeah, that was really sick. I like that. And we got to see the Blink Clinks. That was another kind of interesting thing from EE Sama. He played Clinks several games and went Blink first. And I don't know. I think at first a lot of people thought he was trolling, just hard trolling, because
it was so weird to me.
Speed was looking not in a bad shape. But yeah, it ended up working out. He had some pretty clutch plays with that mobility, backdooring towers and using the Force Staff. And yeah, that one match where, what was it? Use the Chen Test of Faith, Force Staff forward, click, 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 click on the racks, and then just get sent back to the base. That was pretty awesome. When I saw that, I just got filled with excitement, jiggling in my seat.
I mean, EE Summon never really trolls, but when he bought that Blink, I was like, oh fuck.
Charlie, when are you going to start
Oh.
casting? I want to hear the Charlie cast. Oh,
The Charlie
fuck.
cast?
Charlie, come
He's
cast with
got
me.
a blade.
I'm
Also, I always-
not really a caster, man. I just say words and shit comes out. So
Yeah, that's all we need. Well, Sayori's off like abandoning me and casting for Beyond the Summit. You can come hang out with me. We'll be casting bros.
Yeah, when you need
okay,
to keep it
I don't
steady.
know. I just say words and shit comes out, man. Nothing's planned. Like my interview with Mark, just say words. I'm not Anderson Cooper. I wish I was.
I'm not Anderson Cooper.
He's got beautiful eyes.
That's what a lot of people say. They're like, you probably should have planned out that interview a little better. I'm like, really? You think if we had a good outline, that interview would have gone much better? I think it still would have been who can dodge. It was just like who can pick up MKB faster, Charlie or Mark. It was a dodge fest for sure.
I didn't farm fast enough.
I didn't farm fast enough. Couldn't get that MKB.
Sorry.
You should have come prepared, man.
Dude,
Sorry.
he got that 20-minute
Should've
butterfly,
seen
and
the
it was too
butterfly
much.
coming.
Yo, he was
up
PA.
the MKB
He got
before
built-in
the show.
evasion.
Yeah.
He has built-in evasion. Fucking lost.
Oh, man. So, all right, to sum it up, MLG was awesome. I just wanted to hit those talking points. Last little thing I had here, Pretty Boy Swag, they ended the group stage 0-8, the only team not to win a game, unfortunately. But, one of those opportunities, I'm glad there was at least one team that was an underdog there, because it is really important in the scene to have some sort of mobility for up-and-coming teams, to have some way to be able to break in. You have to have a platform available for those teams to qualify and be able to play. It's good practice for them, and, that's how the scene continues to grow. One of the worst things that we could do for esports right now is have a stagnant team or a stagnant scene where there's no mobility between up and coming players, and it's just the same old boys over and over and over again, because we're going to get tired of it. You got to see those storylines continue to evolve. That's what keeps people coming back, the drama, the excitement, all that stuff. So glad to see Pretty Boy Swag there. I got to meet a couple of the players. Glad to see they were in reasonably good spirits despite not winning a single game. Sad face. So, all right, let's switch gears here. Let's talk DreamHack, because DreamHack is going on right now. DreamHack Winter 2013. Dream League, the kickoff premiere event, as it may be, is continuing through DreamHack Winter right now. And oh boy, has there been some excitement. Fnatic playing out of their minds as of present. And I think I have the brackets up right here. Yesterday we saw Fnatic play against the mighty Alliance, where they did 2-1 them. A very close series, but Fnatic barely coming out ahead. Of course, Na'Vi beating Liquid 2-1. I didn't see that series, but I saw the result. This morning is where things got really crazy. Fnatic 3-0ing Na'Vi in a best-of-5 to move into the grand finals on the winners bracket. And they may play Na'Vi again. It could be against Alliance or Team Liquid, depending on how this losers bracket settles down. And we've said many times on this show, you can't read too much into a best-of-1. Anything can happen in a best-of-1. Pretty Boy Swag takes a game off of Alliance. Maybe it was a weird draft. Maybe something weird happened. The courier got picked off. Some snowball shit went down. Fnatic 3-0ing Na'Vi in a best-of-5. That is, I don't know if there's a proper word to qualify how significant that is for Fnatic. I mean, if they keep up that kind of momentum, I think they may have DreamHack Winner in the bag. And as a Fnatic fanboy myself, that's quite titillating.
I wouldn't call it in the bag. I think Na'Vi has a great history.
Fnatic
of
3-0 Na'Vi.
But it's a really good start.
Yeah. I need to see the games. It happened literally this morning in that 3-hour block before we went live with the morning show. So I didn't catch the matches, but wow. Yeah, the stream is on 360p. That's my bad, guys. That's my bad. I was recording some stuff yesterday and forgot to change it back. So luckily, we don't need to do too much high def action here, but low bandwidth today. I got your back. So Charlie, you didn't catch the series either, did you?
No, I didn't. But I will say this, that I guess Na'Vi is sort of the historically DreamHack has always proved difficult for Na'Vi.
Really?
I don't think DreamHack Winter,
Right.
they had a disappointing placement. They lost to EG. I think in the round of 4, I think. They lost to EG in the round of 4. I know that was really disappointing to them. Last year they lost in the round of they lost to us, I believe. And they had a I guess, tied for 8th place, or tied for 5th, 7th, 8th place finish, losing to Dignitas at DreamHack Summer. So I know, like, whenever they've gone, they haven't always performed as well as they wanted to.
That's kind of strange. I guess you're right, but it is sort of weird how Na'Vi, I don't know. Traditionally, they've been very good on LAN, but I don't know. I mean, I guess Fnatic...
DreamHack is sort of the monkey on their back.
Yeah. Well, they're not off to a good start here in this one. I mean, they are in that semifinals in the losers bracket, so it's going to be Alliance versus Team Liquid facing off. I realized that you guys couldn't see it when I showed it because it's in 360p. So Na'Vi will have to play Alliance or Team Liquid, depending on how that series works out. And then, of course, whoever wins that lower bracket semifinals will face Fnatic in the grand finals. Do either of you guys know off the top of your head, if it ends up being Fnatic versus Na'Vi again in the grand finals, is this an extended series tournament? Will it be one of those Fnatic has to win 1 best of 3, Na'Vi has to win 2, or is it just a straight best of 5 and, you know?
I believe it's just a straight best of 5.
Okay.
I don't know if they have a 1-game advantage, though.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's our usual Dota thing. Just
1-game advantage?
Yeah. Well, coming from other games where you see things like multiple sets where there's actually resets, and you're like, oh, this is really cool. Then you realize, oh my god, if we played 2 best of 5s in a Dota tournament, it would literally be an entire day of games.
Yeah. 2 best. I don't know why anyone would sign up for that. I thought it was funny that NoTail said in his interview yesterday after they beat Alliance, they asked like if what he thought about Liquid being sort of the odd team out in terms of like skill with Alliance, Na'Vi, Fnatic, and then Team Liquid kind of the fourth. And NoTail was like, yeah, I mean, I think that's probably pretty true. Alliance is a team that can take games off of us in a series. They've done it before, but in a best of 10, I think the 3 of us would take more games off Liquid than they would take off of us. I was just like, in a best of 10, I guess so. That would be a pretty epic
Shots
series.
fired.
Yeah, seriously. I was like, that'd be a pretty epic series. Best of 10 with Na'Vi versus
Hey man,
Fnatic versus Liquid.
That's how we over in the fighting game community. That's how we rate how good characters are. If you talk about character matchups, you talk about them in terms of how many games out of 10 they'll take off of each other. So an even matchup, 5-5.
Yeah.
Start to get a little unbalanced, 6-4, etc.
Okay, I gotcha. All right, NoTail repping the fighting game community, I guess. So I see people in chat saying there's no game advantage, or some people are saying there's an advantage, some people are saying there is an advantage. So I honestly don't know. It was just one of those things I was curious about. So interesting stuff. We'll have to keep an eye on Fnatic, the DreamHack finals, lining up to be an interesting storyline at the very least. We're all, at least by we all, I know at least myself and Chris, rooting for Fnatic a bit. What are you gonna do? You got to support those guys. It's the trifecta. I have a history with the players from Han. They're cool guys in real life, and they tend to do interesting plays. I like their picks. I like their play style. What's not to like about Fnatic, So, do we have anything else? The last little talking point here is about Demon. We'll tease it a little bit. Charlie, is he awake? Is he ready to rock and roll?
He's online now.
He's online? Okay, cool. So, yeah, the big talking point today, guys, we've got Demon coming on here, going to be joining us in the second part of Dota Radio Morning Show, episode 16, to talk about the exciting announcement that did break this morning. He's going to be moving to Korea for at least a few months to participate in the Nexon Season 2 in Seoul, and, I
believe it's just 1 month.
It said, okay, in the article... it says only a month. Okay, good call. But he is leaving on December 1st, so that is just a couple days away here. And again, here I'll show it, even though I know you guys won't be able to read it very well because of that 360p garbage. There is an article up on Gosu Gamers here. Demon to Korea joins MVP Phoenix, pardon me, and we're gonna get his account. So we're gonna take a short break here. Don't go anywhere, and we come back with part 2. Demon gonna be joining us here on the Dota Radio Morning Show.